The season starts off with Gi-young remembering and describing the exact rules of a game he used to play as a child called the Squid Game. Afterwards, this pathetic loser steals his mom's bank card so he can use the money to bet on horses. And as luck would have it, he wins a substantial amount of money in the end. But not long after winning, his money gets stolen by Kang, and while being chased by thugs who coerce him into signing a document telling him that he has till next month to pay off his debt or else. Later on, an unscrupulous businessman approaches Gi-young with an offer to make a lot of money, which Gi-young only accepts after learning his daughter is going to move to the US next year. Gi-young is then drugged and dragged into a van, and when he wakes up, he finds himself in a warehouse with 455 other people who are in deep debt like he is and have all agreed to play a series of games for money. Then the first game starts, and it's a super basic children's game called Red Light, Green Light, but it doesn't take long for the people to realize those who are eliminated are actually killed instead, and they understand these games are life and death. Still in the first game, Gi-young is close to being eliminated near the finish line but is saved by Ali and emerges victorious along with 200 other people, meaning that 255 other people were killed in the very first game. The harsh reality of the game has set in, which causes people to reconsider playing the game any further. So a vote is held where the majority of the people have voted to terminate the game. So they get sent home, and upon returning to the outside world, Gi-young reports these masked men to the police, but he is thrown out because they simply don't believe this crazy story, especially since he can't prove it. So while it may have seemed like a good idea to leave the game for their safety, the harsh financial realities of the outside world have become increasingly difficult for most people. So realizing that their financial circumstances have become too difficult to bear, the vast majority of the people decide to return back to the game. A detective named Jun-ho decides to follow the van that Gi-young was taken in order to find his brother, since Gi-young initially refused to help him. After arriving at the dock, Jun-ho slowly infiltrates the island by pretending to be one of the masked men. Back inside the warehouse, Gi-young believes that it's better to team up in order to advance further in the game, so he teams up with Sang-woo, Ali, and Il-nam. Kang, the pickpocket who robbed Ji-hun earlier, sneaks into the ventilation ducts to find the masked men heating up sugar and later tells Sang-woo, who doesn't tell his team when it could have helped them, because the next game involves breaking apart carved symbols in sugar cookies without breaking the carved symbol itself, and after 10 minutes has passed, only 108 people survive. Tensions then begin to boil after the last round because there was a purposeful shortage of food. So a thug named Jang gets into a fight with another person and kills him without any repercussions. We then find out a surgeon who's playing in the games is being helped by a few masked men, unbeknownst to the others, in exchange for his help in surgically removing organs from the dead participants so they can sell on the black market. Later that night, all hell breaks loose when people resort to barbarism during lights out and start killing one another. Therefore, the masked men show up and put an end to all of it. The following morning, the remaining contestants split into teams of 10 for the next game, which is a tug of war, and Jang kicks Han out of his group in favor of the surgeon who has inside information about the game. Gi-young's team wins their round with tactics from both Sang-woo and Il-nam, but Gi-young has trouble dealing with the fact that he is responsible for the opposing team's death. And after performing another yet illegal surgery, the surgeon freaks out because he wasn't told information about the next game as promised and kills one of the masked men before fleeing, which causes the frontman himself to come down to find out that some of his masked men have been selling organs on the side, and he puts an end to that situation. Jun-ho was exposed as an intruder, but he still managed to investigate the facility where he finds information about his brother's involvement in these very games. The fourth game now starts, and it forces people to team up in pairs, but it is soon revealed that the only way to win is to take all the marbles from the person you just teamed up with. Everyone's conscience is getting to them during this game, especially Gi-young, who intentionally uses Il-nam's memory loss in order to gain advantage in their marble game. Sang-woo, who was losing his marble game with Ali, decides to trick Ali into giving him his marble sack. But sadly, Ali figures out what Sang-woo did just before he died. It's then revealed that Il-nam knew all along what Gi-young was doing and willingly gave up his last marble so that the pathetic loser Gi-young can win. After that last game, everyone is emotionally reeling while a group of VIPs arrive on the island in order to watch these people play these deadly games. Real sick stuff. Jun-ho continues his search for answers and secretly enters the VIP viewing room as a server just before the players choose their place for the fifth game, which is crossing a bridge on breakable glass windows. The bridge game progresses to a point where Jang forces everyone to stop because he's too scared to proceed any further, until Han sacrifices herself to kill him because he betrayed her. Back in the VIP lounge, Jung-ho luckily avoids sucking a dick and records the information he needs from one of the VIPs before eventually escaping from the island. Sang-woo then sacrifices a person near the end of the bridge game, which paves the way for him, Kang, and Ji-young to win the game. And even though Jung-ho's escaping, the frontman along with a handful of other masked men continue their pursuit of Jun-ho off the island. After they finally catch up to him, the frontman reveals himself to Jung-ho, who then realizes that it's his brother, right before Jun-ho is shot off a cliff. Later that night, Gi-young finds out that Kang is mortally wounded from the last game, but when he goes to help her, Sang-woo finishes her off. And in a fit of rage, Ji-young charges at Song-woo in order to kill him, but he is stopped by the masked men and watches as Kang is put in a casket, thus making Song-woo and Ji-young the last two players for the final game, where they must play surprise surprise Squid Game. Ji-young has been at odds with Song-woo ever since the last game because Song-woo has been killing people in order to get ahead, and now their confrontation turns physical. Gi-hun, being the sentimental idiot, wants to end the game so he and Song-woo can go home together, but Song-woo kills himself so Gi-young can win the game. And that makes Gi-young champion of the Squid Game and winner of the prize money. We then flash forward back to the outside world. A year after his diabetic mother has died, Gi-hun receives information that leads him to an office building, and inside it he finds Il-nam still alive but dying. And we come to find out that Il-nam is the mastermind behind the games, and the reason he did all this is simply because he is a rich asshole who was bored, so doing this to people was his way of getting excitement. Il-nam then wants to play one final game with Gi-hun in order to test his belief in the lack of human kindness as a sort of justification for what he did. But Il-nam loses the game just before he dies. Sometime later, Gi-young is seen walking through the airport because he plans on visiting his daughter in the US, but he notices and chases after the unscrupulous businessman from the beginning, trying to recruit another person for these deadly games, only to lose him in the crowd. The season ends with Gi-young deciding not to visit his daughter as planned because he plans on re-entering the Squid Game in order to put an end to this immorality. And that's it, guys. That's the entirety of Squid Game Season 1, everything you need to know for Season 2. Hopefully this video helped you out, and if it did, give it a thumbs up and a subscribe. Thank you.